Hello and welcome to Synergy of Being. This is Vibration Energy News. My name is Tom Lawless. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Click that bell to make sure you are notified when any new uploads. It helps with the algorithm for YouTube and all of that machine stuff, human matrix and all that. So what's been happening in the energy? It looks like it's been lagging a bit, going all a bit slow really, isn't it? You know what I mean? It certainly has in the northern hemisphere. I was out dowsing yesterday and that was quite interesting. There seems to be that undercurrent that's a heavier vibration that slips underneath the normal vibration, which seems to be slowing it even further, which runs about the sort of the midweek between the equinox of the September and the solstice of December. So you may find that things are not really moving on very, very quickly at the moment. And if we look at the sun, it is really back down to minimum activity. And we should be expecting this over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So, whenever there's a sunspot, everyone starts jumping up and down, which pretty much happened this week, but nothing really is coming of it. No surprise there. It's the end of the cycle 24, and there's glimpses occasionally of cycle 25 happening and starting, but it's very timid. We're also going to be looking at the snow in the northern hemisphere, which has really kicked off, breaking all records all over the place in Russia, in China, and also in the States, where they've had huge amounts of snow already, and that contrast is all to do with those polar vortexes. We're also going to be looking at, what else are we going to be looking at? Gravity waves. Yes, right, gravity waves. Now, gravity waves, they've been filmed by satellite in Australia, and we've had some of these from also other storms, but is it showing up the first sort of sign of one of the world chakras, the plexus solis, kicking off? We'll be looking at that as well. So, before we go into all of that, let's get back to our local star, the sun. Hey? Well, the sun is not going to change for anyone. It's on its own course, and as we've been saying over these past month or so, the sun has not been highly active. The coronal holes that came through this week were not that really strong, and we saw a real problem in the you can see at the top left, it was down to where we were getting the problem with the cosmic rays that come through that can cause quite a few illnesses and also very erratic behavior in choice making. So let's have a quick look at the earthquakes, what's been going on. There's the chakras of the earth. On the 25th, we mainly had a root, a solar plexus and a heart chakra going on through the earth vibrations and the earthquakes. And then there was a sort of transition day where there was only mainly plexus solis and a little bit of the crown chakra coming in, but really intermittent between chakras. On the 27th, we reverted into the vertical energy of the root and the crown chakra with the plexus solis with it. And that root chakra was persisting on the 28th with the throat and third eye chakra coming in. That vertical energy took back its place with the root and the crown chakra, and the this time was the sacrum that came into play. And then we still had that root chakra and the plexus solis and the throat chakra. And then on to the 31st, we had the root chakra just stamping its authority on that week as it was coming through. That put an end to that sort of transition and led us into this transition through a little bit on the heart chakra there, and that sort of started coming back and taking place a lot more than the plexus solis in the early part of November, with the throat and the third eye playing its role. But there it is again, the root chakra. Now let's see what's going on with those vortex winds at the moment. And as you can see from this arrow, this is where I think it's going to start breaking down over the next 10 days in the southern hemisphere. And this is going to be pulling it out to that position 23 pictured on the right hand side. In the northern hemisphere, we have the vortex which is going round and bringing down that cold air. And there's that snow I was talking about going right across North America and Russia and China. But this is how the energy is changing from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. And when I was talking earlier on about that lull of energy, that's pretty much what's happening now. The southern hemisphere, the polar vortex is breaking down and giving rise to the northern hemisphere. If you've seen in any of my previous videos, I've talked about the Earth's energy also being connected to the Sun as much as the Sun is connected to the Earth. It's a two-way street. And the picture on the left here is a lightning bolt. There's a vertical one that's coming up out of the clouds and giving that connection between the Earth and the Sun. Is it possible to see these vibrations in the Earth's action? I think I found two this week. A picture of a storm created in the compression zone between point 19 and 13. And as you can see, that line that comes out across, and actually the eye of the storm is just sitting behind that point 13. As it comes out across, it actually seems to be hitting the heart chakra. And if that's not good enough, let's have a look at something that's in northern Australia. This is what they're calling a gravity wave taken from satellite, showing waves of gravity apparently coming out the northwestern part of Australia. And this was on the 20th of October. So if you follow the arrow to the right, it's compressed out of Australia and sends that vibration up into India, creating those earthquakes that rise up to the crown chakra, and eventually as it comes across, it's also split by the vibration and creating earthquakes in the Middle East. So this is getting quite amazing now, really. What we're getting here is getting various sources of the Earth's activity and actually starting to connect them. So this wave, or this gravity wave, I personally think is a vibration coming out of northwestern Australia, as I said. And as it does, and through the mechanics of the vibration systems, you can see how these earthquakes just move up and then split and get split by the energy and end up in the Gate of Amman, I think it is, in the Middle East down that way. To go through the mechanics of it all, it starts off in point 27, gets brought up to point 24 by the vortex to the northeast of Australia, and also pulled by the compression zone to the southwest of Australia. And as it gets pulled up to point 24, it meets the inverted energies of its construction of itself, splitting it, bringing it over to point 20, and actually running up the light blue line past there. So after a week of releasing all that energy, let's see how it affects us in the coming week. So there's a lot of information there to digest, and this is all to do with that release energy. I don't know about you, but for me, there's loads of things coming to the surface. It's fantastic, it's great, and sometimes it's a little bit quick on what you're allowed to keep, what you can let go of, what you want to work a bit better and explore a bit more. So you know, it's can be seen as trying times, but in theory, if you just let go, it should be very easy. Now, what with the sun not sending us a lot of energy, it may make you feel a little bit sort of docile and slow at times, and a little bit of lacking physical energy. It's a bit normal. The Earth is not in a good state of play genetically. Magnetically, therefore those vibrations are not coming through to us. As the sun has calmed down, that means the whole of the heliosphere, that means the magnetic field of the sun is actually calmed down. Now this is increasing cosmic rays coming our way, and this is rays and particles. These are physical particles that come from outside the solar system. They're rare and few and far between, but they do increase as the sun reduces its activity, which then will increase cloud activity on this planet, but also it could increase things like cancers and stuff like that. So it's not really the greatest time to say like fly or go up in a hot air balloon at in these periods where the magnetic field of the Earth has been very stagnant for a long time, as we saw earlier on in the video. So synergy of being. So synergy of being is about that synergy. There's no magic wand. Yeah, there's no one thing. So what synergy of being? If someone's telling you, "I have the answers to the universe," you can stop listening to that person. If I was you, synergy of being doesn't work like that. Synergy of being is basically we look at different ways in which we can individually, myself such as yourself, find the solutions in your life through various techniques, combining them together. So this is what you have to do when you're looking at these energy changes. So this week there's been the root chakra and the plexus, the solar plexus, and which has been the main elements, and you've had that vertical energy that we were talking about. Now, if you're in tune with the energy, you can actually use that energy to be very constructive and getting all the little minor details of your projects and of your plans, or you're clearing out of yourself on a personal or spiritual level. But also at the same time, if you don't want to connect with the Earth's energy and you want to increase your third eye and crown chakra and go even further, then basically almost like ignore the Earth's energy, because that will impose upon your energy and make your crown chakra open up. So this is it. Through this one type of energy, you can actually use it in completely different ways. And this is how we should look at energy. This is how we should look at holistic and well-being care between us. So, that's sort of what's been happening at the moment. I think on the 9th and 10th of November, there will be a bit of a change. That sluggish thing that I was talking about earlier on in the video is basically where the Earth, as it's gone through its equinox, has gone to its furthest point, and the inner Earth is starting to turn back, and then waiting for the outer shell to move around with it. And that sort of happened on the 2nd of November and should be done by the 9th and 10th of November. Talking about November, I will be in the UK in November. So I will be there from the 20th to the 28th. I have healing sessions down in Kent on the Sunday, I think it's the 24th, and Monday the 25th. Check those dates in the links below. But I would also be dowsing down in Avebury and in Glastonbury on the Thursday and Friday, the 21st and 22nd, or the 22nd and 23rd. If you wish to join me, it's not a workshop, it's just a walk and a douse and feeling the energies and stuff like that. If you want to join me, please send me a message and we can hook up. I will be possibly down in Southampton, maybe even doing a conference down there. I've still yet to get that sorted, but if I do, it will be announced on our Facebook page, likewise down there below. And also I will be in London, available for healings in London on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, which is the 26th and 27th, I think. Getting very good with my dates. It's quite amazing. So, yeah, it's a real sifting time. I hope you're enjoying it. It's not always easy, but if it starts getting difficult, just step back, step out of the flow, and just observe the river for a while. And then when you feel ready, get back into the flow and get back surfing and let those waves come through you. So, so I will be doing this again next week as this vibration, as this release energy is coming through. There's so much coming to the surface for me. I've been a bit slow in these videos. They will be picking back up and getting back up to schedule. But, don't forget, subscribe, share, like, click the bell. Oh, blimey, there's so many things to do. Just enjoy yourself, yeah? Don't forget, it should be fun.